Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sketchdom. My name is Jason Sketch, and I'm super excited to bring you guys more Marvel Champions content. Today, we're going to be looking at the Wonder Man pack for the very first time. Pretty stoked about it. Hope you guys are as well. Ready to bust this box open. I've had it here for like a day and haven't had a chance to look at the cards yet. So, pretty stoked about it. It's been a minute since I've read the article, so I don't remember hardly anything about it, so I cannot wait to jump right in. Alright, let's get down and check out my thoughts down at the table. Alright guys, welcome down to the table. Here we are with Wonder Man. I am super excited to get another nice box. It actually has got really pretty artwork on the front. Pretty is a strong word, but gorgeous. It is really nicely designed. Love this box. I'm afraid to open it. At the same time, I'm ready to. Already got the stickers off. Let's pull it open. Let's dive right in and pull these cards out. Awesome. Box is nice and sturdy. Again, as we talked about with Hercules, it's going to stand up just fine. Gorgeous box. Good job, good flipping there. We're going to put it over here by the Hercules box, out of the way. And let's jump right down to it. I'm going to move a little bit this way. My camera should be following me a little bit. It's a little weird. I'm going to test this out for a bit, but it may just end up being that I need to switch back to just locking it in place. So, we're going to try it out for this video. All right. First things first. Let's look at this beautiful poster here. Lovely. Well done. Gorgeously done. Love that poster so very much. Expertly done. All right. On the back here, we've got Wonder Man Hero Pack. He talks about all different stuff. Simon Williams, the former industrial rival of Tony Stark, turned superpowers movie star, first got his powers by agreeing to undergo an experiment crafted by the Masters of Evil. After meeting subsequently being defeated by the Avengers, he changed his ways and became a consistent part-time member. Interesting. Yeah, lots of cool things here. All of these keywords are familiar. I like how they have a QR code so you can look it up real fast. Alternate player card back. Ooh. So there must be some alternate card back covers here. I'm excited for it. All right. Thank you all the folks that play tested it, designed it. Pretty excited for this. Need to put it with the other stuff. Let's jump down onto the cards here. So, ooh, the bag's a little torn already, so I'm hoping the cards aren't damaged. I ordered it, pre-ordered it from Amazon, and it came 5 days after the release. So that was a little disappointing when I could pre-order from eBay and get it like 2 days after release. So just something to be aware of for the future, I guess. All right. Let's dive into these cards. All right, first things first, we're going to take out our 15 cards for Wonder Man here. None of these have these different alternate backs, so kind of curious what it was referring to for his kit. But here we are. Wonder Man is a 2/1/2 hero. Power recycling. Wonder Man gets +1 attack for each card tucked under his iconic physiology. So we got like a Spider-Woman type feel to him, or Spider-Woman Silk. After Wonder Man makes a basic attack, discard each card tucked under ionic physiology. Interesting. I wonder how long you can stack those. How many you can stack. You may include events of the printed lightning resource icon from any aspect in your deck. Put iconic physiology into play, which is that next card. So this is very cool. Very neat. Love the artwork. Very cool design. I like this artwork on the back where he's sitting in a nice chair, being looking at and stuff. That is pretty cool to me. Yeah. We're just going to go ahead and lock my camera in place. It is already driving me crazy. Thank you guys for your patience on that. All right. Next we have... Oh, we want to go ahead and sleeve that. I've got clear sleeves for my heroes, and then I, of course, use those purple sleeves, and I got to get some more purple sleeves before I start using them, so we'll get them all sleeved up before we play a game. I still want to test him out and make sure he's doing well. But here we go. Sliding it on into the clear sleeve here. Beautiful. All right. Oh, this is the one with a different back. So this is kind of to indicate that it doesn't get shuffled in, I guess. It's kind of smart on their end to do that. I don't think the rest of his cards... Nope. All right, cool. That is very cool. Smarter than to make that happen. Ionic Physiology is an upgrade. Represents maximum 3 tuck cards here. Okay, permanent. After you play an event with a printed lightning resource tuck that event from your discard pile under your card. Heal 1 damage from your identity. After you play an event with a printed lightning resource, tuck that event from your discard pile under this card. Heal 1 damage from your identity. So that's pretty cool. So you can keep healing and staying healthy. That is actually super awesome. It also gets a white back, clear back, because it is a card that doesn't get shuffled in. So there we go. I don't think that'll be happening again, but now we have 2 clear cards. All right. Sweet. We have 2 active altruisms, and I like the art on this. This is kind of neat where he's just saving people. Altruism, I think that's the word that we're seeing there. Remove 1 threat from a scheme. Remove 2 additional threat from a scheme for each lightning resource you ever paid for using this card. It's a 0 cost, but if you spend some extra lightning resources from your hand, this will do some extra threat removal. That's pretty cool. Oh, and there's 3 copies of it, not 2. Okay. Let me triple check my math here. Ionic Blast. We have just 2 copies of Ionic Blast. It's a pretty cool card with Wasp there on the card there as well. Hero action. Attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. Deal 2 additional damage to the enemy for each lightning resource you overpaid for this card. So it looks like I'm going to have to be overpaying quite a bit. This is a mechanic that they brought in earlier in the game and haven't seen again in a while. But it kind of related back to Wasp and Ant-Man. So it's kind of neat that we see Wasp on this card for that mechanic. The overpayment, though, isn't terrible. Deal 2 damage for each overpaid card, which means you can go, I'm going to spend 1 to play the card, and then I can do 6 more damage if I spend 3 more lightning resources. So I guess essentially you're spending 4 cards. You can spend your entire hand to play this card. But then you're doing 9 points of damage. So the toss-up there is just very interesting. Starstruck, we have 3 copies of Starstruck. Deal damage to an enemy equal to your attack. If you overpaid for this card using a lightning resource, stun that enemy. Deal damage to an enemy equal to your attack. If you overpaid for this card using a lightning resource, stun that enemy. So this is a stun card. It's nice to see some more status cards coming into play. We don't see those as often as I thought, though maybe they're coming out more often than I realized. We're getting so many villains with steady that it's making it difficult, but you can still do it to, like, stun. I don't know if, like, Hercules Hydra comes out or something. Energy Siphon. When you spent this card, how many of those do we have? We have 2 Energy Siphons. So he's got resource cards in his kit. When you spin this card, take up to 3 damage. This card generates 1 additional lightning resource for each damage taken this way. That is pretty cool. So now you're using your health, which is a 12 health point, by the way. He's got 12. 5 on one side, 6 on the other for hand size. So with 12 health points, and being able to use this to heal or do damage to yourself, and then you heal yourself for each event you attach to it. This is actually a fun card. It's going to be very interesting to see and watch how I'm managing my health while playing him. But I find myself looking forward to it. Wonder Fans! We have 1 copy of Wonder Fans. Exhaust Wonder Fans. Choose, and it's alter ego action. Tuck 1 event with a printed lightning resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology, or draw a card. That is pretty fantastic. All right, next we have Jet Belt. It is another upgrade, item, and tech related. Exhaust Jet Belt, generate a lightning resource for an event. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you want to make sure you get that on the table pretty easily. Exhaust Jet Belt and discard a card. Tucked under Ionic Physiology, generate a lightning resource. So it can be a lot of resource generation here, which is pretty cool. Again, you have to exhaust the card. But it is very interesting how this works out. So I'm pretty excited about it. That should be awesome to see how this plays out for us. Next, we have Mr. Hollywood. Generate a lightning resource to overpay for a card. That is pretty cool. So you have a way to overpay for these cards, and that gives you a chance to do that lightning resource and to overpay for a card, limited once per round. So once per card. Oh, interesting. So you want to get this on the table pretty quick, and for all the overpayments that you get to do with these cards, that's what this card is there for. That is really neat. He's got a lot of upgrades to kind of look at. Signature sunglasses. After you change form, choose tuck an event or resource card with a printed lightning resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology. Add a card tucked under Ionic Physiology to your hand. So you can kind of swap out what cards you have underneath Ionic Physiology, which is good so you can get some things back into play that you may have been lost from beforehand. What are you? It's a superpower. 2-cost upgrade. When Wonder Man would be defeated, instead, set his hit point dial to 4 and change him to alter ego form. You may tuck events with a printed lightning resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology until there are 3 cards tucked there. Remove this card from the game. That's cool. So you get, essentially, you can get up to 7 health when you were to potentially die. That is a neat card. It's something that you definitely want to try to get on the table. Just looking at his kit here himself, it's a lot of managing resources and managing how you play his cards and when you overpay for cards and different things. I'm excited to see where it goes. It should be very interesting because he's a very different mechanic than what I like to typically play. Because I definitely want to manage my resources so I'm making the most efficient play every single time. But maybe doing 9 damage with 1 card is the most efficient play you can make. So, very cool. Let's jump down to the aspect cards. We have a lot of aspect cards. He comes in Justice, but we're going to see later on he's got some of the other cards from the different aspects that have energy resources on them and stuff like that. So let's slowly do this. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to separate his obligation and Nemesis Set to the side over here. Because we have some other aspect cards that are behind his kit here as well that we're going to take a moment to take a look at. So there's why I want to keep his precon put together because I may end up playing his precon. I think Levi was telling me that there's 50 cards in his precon. So let's check on that. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. There are 40 cards in his precon. He's got some extra cards, aspect cards in the back, but there's only 40 cards in his precon. So, all right. Firebird. I love seeing new allies. Of course, if you haven't followed us on Sidekicked, a Marvel Champions podcast, you need to check us out. We're on YouTube and anywhere you hear podcasts. We love talking about allies and what we might be expecting from them in the game. And so, totally worth your time. Firebird. Bonita Juarez. Yep. 2 thwart, 2 attack. Aerial Avenger. If you overpay for Firebird, put 1 rebirth counter on her. Okay. If you overpaid for Firebird, put 1 rebirth count on her. So we're, again, introducing this mechanic back in. When Firebird would be defeated by a consequential damage, remove 1 rebirth counter from her. Heal all damage from her instead. Oh, that's pretty cool. So she can come in and clear 4 threat or do 4 attack. She can come in and really clear 8 threats or do 4 attack. Or she can do 2 threat, 2 attack, 2 threat, 2 attack. However you want to play her. This is a very cool card. This is a very cool ally. I'm excited to see how she plays. Firebird. Welcome to the game. I like the art. It's pretty cool design. It looks like she is on fire. And her clothes aren't getting destroyed by it. Though they are catching fire. They are getting destroyed by the fire. So I'm interested to see more about this hero. I cannot wait to talk about her in Sidekicked at some point. Because this is just a very interesting hero. Ally. All right, we're going to put that down there. Hawkeye. Super excited to see this. In fact, it was kind of funny to me that on Sidekicked we did the Leadership Hawkeye episode and had it all ready to go. And then literally like the week we announced or dropped it, this card dropped as well with the announcements. So a Hawkeye, Clint Barton. It's a 1 thwart, 1 attack. Shield Avenger Shield. 3 health, ally. Hawkeye enters plays with 4 arrow counters on him, just like his Justice one, or Leadership one does. After an ally makes a basic thwart, remove 1 arrow counter from Hawkeye. Deal 2 damage to a minion. That's pretty cool. And it includes himself, which I thought was interesting. Somebody was mentioning that while I was watching a video the other day. This does include himself, so he can thwart for 1 and then do 2 points of damage to a minion. So really, you can have him clear 2 threat, and it works out. But it's nice to have those 2 other arrows for other allies that are doing it. Again, the nice thing is that you're not exhausting him for it. So you could basically take out a minion for somebody pretty easily with the Hawkeye on the table. This is such a good Hawkeye. I'm excited to play him. Again, it means you have to have a minion on the table, but you know. Scarlet Witch. I don't think this is a reprint of the one we've seen before, but I'll have to look that back up and find out. After you play Scarlet Witch, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If it's a Treachery card, resolve the one revealed ability. Okay. That's not too bad. She's 2 costs, so she comes into play for 2, and she has 3 health. 2 thwart, 2 attack. I think this is pretty neat. I think this is a really cool design card. I think the other Scarlet Witch ally we have in the game is with Quicksilver Set. So this is a much better Scarlet Witch, and you can replay it almost anywhere. So if I am incorrect on that, please let me know. I'd love to talk to you guys more about that. I'm going to have to do some research probably as soon as I get off of this recording and find out for myself. So like that, though. Again, all these allies so far have been relatively cheap. 2 or 3 cost. Which is nice, because I like the cheaper cost allies. The ones that get super expensive kind of get harder to play. That being said, I think Hercules is offering some ways to make that easier. Magneto offered some ways to make that easier, so hopefully that balances out in the future. Sentry. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 3 attack, 5 health points. Aerial Avenger. After Sentry enters play, search the encounter deck for a side scheme and reveal it. Shuffle. If no side scheme is revealed this way, play 6 threat on the main scheme. He could take care of all 6 of that threat pretty easily. You need him to. But he's also a nice ally just in general with 3 attack. For a Justice ally, this is actually fantastic. Because who cares about a side scheme? You can handle a side scheme. This is a wild card. I really want to play him again. Play him. I've only seen him played once, and so I'd really like to play him myself and really get a chance to just get a feel for him. Really cool Justice ally. Very different than any other Justice ally I've seen out there, but I think he's got a cool mechanic. Again, him and Scarlet Witch both require you to manage your encounter deck well, but I think that is still a possibility. Playing him with one way or another, though, is going to make things complicated. It's fine, though. Complicated is how we play Marvel Champions, right? We have 3 copies of Battlefield Benevolence, which says heal 2 damage from an enemy to confuse that enemy. Oh, that's cool. That's just nice. It's an easy way to do a confusion. As long as you think you can still do the damage to him later on, 2 damage for some heroes is a lot to take down a villain for, but to get the confuse on him doesn't really hurt anything. But the only downfall to that is if you can't heal the villain, you can't play that card. So, Bombs Away, Aerial Tactic. Exhaust an aerial character you control and choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engage with that player. I think we already have Bombs Away in the game. This is a different art, but that is pretty great. Exhaust an aerial character you control and choose a player. Deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engage with that player. You can get... I mean, it's interesting to do it with his Justice builds, right? But you can get an aerial ally like we saw with Sentry and exhaust Sentry, save him for another round, and do 3 damage to a bunch of things in front of you. That is pretty cool. Everywhere, all at once. I like the name of this card. It is an X event card. Play only if your identity has a aerial trait. It's got Spectrum on there holding the kid in a car. That's pretty cool. Use X schemes. Remove 2 threat from each chosen scheme. 3 instead if you overpaid for this card. Choose X schemes. Remove 2 threat. So if I choose 2 different schemes, it's going to cost me 2. If I choose 3 schemes, it's going to cost me 3. But you can clear 2 threat from each of the chosen schemes. That's pretty cool. And then 3 threat instead if you overpaid for this card. So if I chose 3 schemes and I paid 4, that is an interesting. I'm going to play with that a little bit because I feel like I would enjoy that. And it's going to work well in Wonder Man, right? Because you have that card that lets you pay for cards. And there's times out there where you get like a lot of different. Side schemes and different things out there. So some of the side schemes that you can play as well and deal with. I was real excited there for a second because I was like, oh, Cable would love this, but Cable's not Ariel, so Cable would love that, but he's not an Ariel character. Dang, Cable, do better. All right, we have Stronger Together. 3 copies of Stronger Together. The protection card is an event, 0 cost. When a character other than your hero would take any amount of damage, if that character shares a trait with you, your hero reduces that damage by your defense. That is incredible. Why? I love this. Yeah. Okay. This is great. When a character other than your hero would take any amount of damage, if that character shares a trait with you, and this is like maybe not so good in solo, but this is a great multiplayer card that I really want to try out and play with because I think it'll be a phenomenal card to try, especially with somebody with 3 defense. That is awesome. That is so good. All right, United. Oh no! It was just Jarvis, guys. It's all good. All right, United Strike. We have 3 copies of that. It says it's a leadership aspect card, 0 cost event. It's a tactic. When an ally uses a basic power, exhaust your hero. Add your hero's matching power to that ally's power for this use. Well, hold on. When an ally uses a basic power, exhaust your hero. Add your hero's matching power to that ally's power for this use. The ally does not take consequential damage for the use. So that's nice. You can essentially make an attack and have your ally attack at the cost of a resource. That is not a terrible thing. It's not like my favorite, but I can see it being helpful. I don't know how well it's going to be used in Wonder Man, but I guess he seems like a pretty resource-heavy hero, rich hero anyways. So he's not overly worried about that, which makes sense for being Mr. Hollywood. I guess you'd be pretty rich. So I just hate the exhaustion part of it. But you do somebody like Quicksilver, and you beef up his defense stat as much as you can, you're going to be able to ready him back up and he can do more damage. So, heroic conditioning. Play under any player's control, which is nice. Get +3 hit points, and your hero gets +1 thwart. That's pretty cool. I like the Hawkeye picture on there. I think that's really, really neat. What a fun card. No, but it's good to see it for sure. We would definitely want to see that. The +1 thwart's already nice, but just the in general 3 health points is great. That would get him up to 15, which a lot of heroes are starting to hit, or a lot of villains are starting to hit more and more like a truck. So next is an ally called Swordsman. Now this is the guy, we see it if you've watched the Hawkeye family show, the Hawkeye TV show on Disney Plus. This is who Kate Bishop's mom is like dating. So that's pretty cool. He's a swordsman. I'm not even going to try to butcher that name. So we're just going to leave it like that. But 2 thwart, 2 attack. Swordsman's basic attack gains piercing, which is nice. So we now have another piercing ally. And on top of that, he's going to see more use than Wolverine because he's a basic ally. Great. After a boost card is turned face up during an undefended attack. Declare Swordsman as the defender without exhausting him. Oh, that's pretty cool. That is very interesting. Very interesting. You probably want to use it against like minions to just kind of let him tank some of that damage. The downfall is he's still taking consequential damage. I think leadership is going to be a good fit for him because you can beef him up with a lot of the Voltroning you can do. Baking a Voltron build for him might be a lot of fun. I'm just have to see. Interesting, because he doesn't come with any other doubles except for double energy. Because he's going to use them. But no strength or no genius. I don't think I've seen that. I've seen all or nothing before. That is interesting that he only comes with one. And Jarvis. I'm excited to see Jarvis. After an Avenger hero changes into alter ego form, exhaust Jarvis. Choose. The identity gets plus recovery until the end of the phase. Discard a status card from that identity. That is cool. That's great for Avenger heroes. I think Jarvis is just such a clutch tie-in back to this story. I'm surprised we haven't seen him in the game before, but this is nice to see him back in play here. He's always been a part of what the Avengers do. He's been around longer than the AI version of Jarvis. This is a clever hero. Super excited to see him. Our ally. I guess support. He's not even an ally, he's a support. But I think it's a great support card. Plus your recovery, or discard a status card from your identity, which is great. Why wouldn't you want that? After an Avengers hero changes into alter ego form. So not only that's okay, hold on. That's great for multiplayer because it could be another Avenger player at your table that can benefit from this. This is awesome. This is great. All right, so that is the end of his hero pack. Again, there's that. Let's just look at the rest of his cards here. And we'll make sure that these stay behind the stop. We got 3 copies of Caught in the Crossfire. Attached to a non-elite minion. When a friendly character attacks, deal 1 damage to attached minion. Great. No notes. This is cool. Means you can just put it on a minion and it just does an automatic point of damage. Again, you can't put it on like Hercules' Hydra. Hercules, whatever Hercules has set for his labor, let me say that, which is going to be typically his Hydra. But it's still a nice card for minion slayers. And that way you don't have to focus on attacking the minion because you can still do all your damage to the villain as long as the minion doesn't have guard and still take out a minion at the same time. This is fun. This is a fun card. A lot of cool cards in this kit. Wonder Man comes with some really cool stuff. Cameo. Love this. Search your collection for an identity-specific ally for an identity not in the game. Shuffle that ally into your deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand and remove it from the game. You're paying 2 costs to add a ally from outside your kit. Now, this was I thought was interesting, right? Because it's search your collection for a identity-specific ally. That means, in my opinion, if you're playing current environment, you can still search across all of your heroes to find an identity-specific ally and put it in your game. So that can make things wild for a current environment. It might get errated, but for now, that's how I'm reading it and understanding it. I like the art. It's kind of cool to have Spider-Man and Mockingbird in there. I kind of wish there was a little bit different art on it, but I'm excited to talk more about this card, to experience with this card, and to play with this card, to see what other options come out there that are just different from the rest of the world. Whew. 3 copies of Coordinated Effort. Attach to an encounter card in play, maximum per card. When paying the cost on attached card, any player may help pay those costs. This is a very situational card, but at the same time, there's been plenty of times when I've been facing a villain with my friends, and I go, "Hey, I can pay 2 of the 3 costs part to remove the sword." And my buddy's like, "Well, I've got the other piece. We can't pay for it together. It's an alliance thing." This makes those hero response cards easier to take care of. I think this is a card that is nice to run if you're playing leadership and you are playing with a group of people You're going to be running into it a lot, but I don't think this card's going to see a lot of play. So Domino may like it for the wild resource. Or just have a wild resource in your kit. Last but not least, we have another card there. We have a copy of Disarming Defense, and I feel like we already have this card in the game. 1 cost. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +2 defense for that attack. If you take no damage from the attack, discard an attachment on the attacking enemy with the text hero action or hero response. That's not in the game. I think I've just seen a similar art with Mockingbird kicking butt. This is great. This is great. Protection needed something like this. Aggression is the only one that I think has anything like this. I like it. For a perfect protection build, this is great. No notes. Love it. Beautifully designed card. Art's pretty great. It's an action shot. And you get to remove an item off from a villain that takes forever to get off sometimes. Love that. I love that card. I can see Earth Twister using it quite a bit because he likes protection. Last but not least, we have a copy of Avengers Compound. We've already talked about this in Hercules kit. But again, play only if your entity has an Avengers trait, max 1 per deck. Exhaust Avengers Compound, choose. Tuck 1 ally from your hand here if there's no ally tucked here. Or play the ally tucked here as if it were in your hand. I love this. I think this is a great card for Avengers. I've used it in Hercules already a couple times to save an ally for later or to get it out of my way so I can still draw into other things that I need. But it saves that ally for when I'm ready to use it. And so I like that. I think this is a great card for that purpose. Kind of excited to hear how the rest of the community feels about Avengers Compound. But I feel like this is a great card, especially as a big ally supporter. 10 out of 10. Love it. All right. So that was interesting. We have a bunch of aspect cards. There was no mod set at the end, which is going to make Earth Twister happy because he doesn't like adding more mod sets to the game. I like the mod sets because it adds more story to it. But this is a very situational situation. So it's cool that we got a bunch of extra cards that can be used in his kit. All right, so we've got some bad stuff to look at. As the Grouchy Nerd says, the bad stuff. So here we go. Pacifism. It is an obligation. Give to the Simon Williams player. Oh man, that would be Wonder Man. Wonder Man cannot attack. Oh, okay, hold on. What's going on here? Exhaust Simon Williams. No 3 actions. Exhaust Simon Williams. Or discard 3 cards tucked under Ionic Physiology. Discard this card. And so it can come back. It can lock you down and have you come back. This is an interesting obligation. Not a bad one. There's worse ones out there. But it's not going to be a fun one if it hits you 2 or 3 times in a game. The Grim Reaper. Who we didn't see in the Wonder Man show. I was really hoping he would show up. But that's okay. He may come later. He's got Quick Strike, 2 scheme, 2 attack. Ooh. After Grim Reaper attacks and defeats an ally, deal that ally's controller a face-down encounter card. So you really don't want allies to defend against him. That being said, 2 thwarts with Hawkeye and Grim Reaper's dead. He's not a bad one for Face the Past. I wouldn't even be worried about him if he showed up. You just deal with the Quick Strike. Next we have Brother versus Brother, which is his side scheme. It's a really cool piece of art. I do like that. If only you were my real brother instead of this monstrosity you've become. Grim Reaper. As an additional cost to attack Grim Reaper, you must discard 1 card from your hand. Okay, so you want to clear this first. It also gives him an extra boost when he attacks and things. Ugh, don't like it. Super player, so it's not difficult to get rid of. I'm really not intimidated by this Nemesis set so far. It's annoying. It's very annoying, but it's not like, oh my gosh, this is going to be in the way. It's going to be a pain. It's just annoying. Ares is a pain and gets in the way. He doesn't seem like he's going to be much of an issue. Scythe Strike. If Grim Reaper is in play, he activates against you. Otherwise, take 2 indirect damage. I mean, that could end in a game there. That's kind of nice. Nothing will get in my way, Grim Reaper. I like it. Last, we have 2 copies of Cannot Die. Death Cannot Die. The Treachery. When revealed, Grim Reaper activates against you. If Grim Reaper is not in play, find him and reveal him. Boost. If Grim Reaper is in play, he activates against you. Otherwise, it's after this activation. Alright, so that's just annoying. That's real annoying. He's going to keep at... That's when, again, it's not like a scary Nemesis set. It's just annoying. Because he's not going to be hard to take out. Honestly, you could probably take him out pretty stinking easily with just what's in your kit alone. So, I'm not complaining, Fantasy Flight, by the way. I don't want to come across like I'm complaining, viewers. I just am not scared of him. And maybe I need to play a game or two and go, oh, this is why. This is why he's hot. You know. But it's an Nemesis set that I'd be like, cool, all right, came out into play, let's just move on. And like, I'm not really focused or worried about it. Ares is a little bit more, all right, I gotta pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, I'm excited. I think intrigued is the right word here. I'm not terrified and I'm not worried about this kit. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think it's just going to be a little bit of learning on Jason's end. I'm noticing that there's a lot of 0s and 1s in this kit, and you're looking to overpay for things. And so really kind of keeping an eye on what you can do to overpay for stuff, because it's going to be helpful in the long term. I like the mechanic idea. I like the thought. There's some really neat allies in this deck. I really feel like I just need to play Wonder Man to get a better feel. But it was really fun looking at his cards. He's got some very interesting cards in the long term. And it is nice when you've got an extra resource to be able to just pay for stuff. Because there's been plenty of games where I've had a wild resource or two on the table that I just didn't use because whatever. And I think I'm going to enjoy that more, the overpayment mechanic, because there's been several times where I have played a game that I had an extra resource or two in my hand that I could have used, and I just didn't, and was stuck with a card waiting on it to get played when I can just toss it and know that it's going to cycle back around to me pretty soon. So I'm interested in y'all's thoughts, though. What do you guys think of Wonder Man? This is just making my brain hurt a little bit, but it's very interesting. I think he's just got some really cool stuff that he can do, and I really want to test him out more. And then these allies, I'm pretty stoked about. At least the top 3. Sentry, I still think is going to be fun, but I'm going to have to get a feel for him. I'm not sure how I feel about Battlefield Benevolence just yet, but he's got some cool stuff going on, so I think we've got some cool things happening in Marvel Champions right now. Thank you to the creators for making some cool designs and some very unique and different designs. And it's really cool that we can do something different with Wonder Man and Hercules both. All right, well, I need to get back to the office. Unfortunately, I am working today, but I will be playing Wonder Man here soon, so be watching for that video next. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, my name is Jason Sketch, and next time I'll be deadly serious next time. Peace.